Hi.
So we've met before, and we talked about some of your concerns and strengths, and at this agency we like to learn more about those as well as about your culture, but obviously this should be driven by you and what you want. So of strengths, culture, and concerns, which would you like to talk about?
Strengths sounds good.
Okay, strengths. So what personal strengths of yours help you with the stressors of social work school? Because last time we talked about those stressors. So what strengths do you have?
I guess, I often look back at, my school career, and I know that I've always been able to get things done. I might stress out, and I might have a really hard time, but, I've always succeeded, mostly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard, but, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
That's basically what it comes down to.
Okay. So even there, you're just matter of fact, with your hands, it gets done.
Yeah. It's just that, it sucks sometimes. It's just really, it can be really draining and really hard, and I can feel really bad about myself, the way that I've, procrastinated or whatever. But,
Yeah.
I know it can be done, or I can do it anyway.
Yeah. So it sounds even when you're talking about your strengths, it is very easy to talk about, okay, what's bad, but you were able to return to, you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're competent.
Yeah.
You're productive.
Yeah, with papers, I know that I got my degree in English. I know I'm a competent writer academically.
Mm-hmm.
I rely on that. And I've always been a procrastinator, so I know that I can procrastinate. I can get away with it. But it's horrible. That's not a great way to live my life either.
So maybe in the future, learning about how to sort of use other strategies so that you don't procrastinate. But in the meantime, you know yourself. You know what you do, and you know how to accommodate for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So speaking of effective strategies to help you complete assignments, what are some of those strategies that you have done? Even if you've been procrastinating, how do you make sure you've turned it in by the time it's due?
I guess being organized is really hugely important to me because I'm not an organized person. I'm not somebody who follows a schedule or can keep everything straight. So I've gotten better at this, but just having everything written down somewhere, and following some sort of schedule that does help me. And then just having somebody to keep me accountable. I make my husband keep me accountable on a lot of things. I ask him to check in with me every once in a while to say, are you getting your stuff done? Because I will just ignore it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I need him to remind me that it's important that I do the things that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. So, you're aware that you have certain strategies that work, and you're aware where you, maybe miss the mark or forget about some things, but you put things in place so that other people remind you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been mostly helpful. Unfortunately, my husband, he has ADD, and he has his own problems, but, we try and help each other out as much as we can.
Yeah. And that's sort of a level of, trust that I'm hearing of, and support. You recognize you each have your own things, but you're also both willing to...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we have a strong relationship. He's really important to me being able to do what I'm doing, baby or not.
Yeah. Well, that really feeds into one of my questions here, which is, who's part of your support network? So your husband?
My husband, and honestly, that's it. Neither of us have a lot of close friends. He recently went through a thing with his family, so we don't really have them to really rely on too much.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are aware of what I'm doing, but they don't live close. It's not like they can really help out. They help out with the baby, though, so I do have a support system through them.
Yeah.
but other than that, it's like my husband and I we both have each other.
Yeah.
And that seemed to do us pretty well so far.
Okay. So I'm hearing that, like, you're grateful for what you have, but it can feel a little isolating to, like, you know, maybe both clinging to each other while, you know, swirling around and not anchored, and that can be...
Yeah, that's bothered me in the past. But honestly, I'm not very good at having more than one, like, really close person in my life.
Okay.
And I think he's the same way, because we have at least a mutual agreement that that's how it is for us. It's not like I rely on him and he has all of these other friends or anything. We're just kind of like the two of us against the world a lot of times.
Okay. And you feel united in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've become comfortable with that.
Okay. So going back to sort of doing things on time, talking about the stressors, and, you know, you are a student, but also you're a person. So what are some things you do to help yourself feel better or feel more positive? What are some of you know, those actions you take just to...
Like lately, I do my best to like take care of things around the house. I've never been a clean freak or anything, but having a clean or mostly organized home like makes me feel a lot better, I've realized. And other than that, I don't know. I don't really read. I usually read, watch movies and stuff, but not lately, not since I've been in school. So maybe I should give myself some time to do those things. But yeah, at the moment it's just like taking care of the house and cooking meals and homemaking.
Okay, so it sounds like you're aware that there may be some other fun things you could be doing, but, like, you are really attending to, like, those vital things of making your environment, like, a place you want to be.
Mm-hmm. And it helps me, like, to have an organized environment. It helps me focus more on schoolwork because I have to do that at home, and so it helps to have, like, a clean place to work in.
Yeah, and same thing you said before with, you know, your school assignments. Organization and structure doesn't come easy to you, but you are, like, investing in this, like, skill to help yourself. So you're doing it both in school and at home, even if it's not naturally what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've grown up a lot this semester. It's been kind of like trial by fire, but I think I'm doing fairly well for myself.
Okay.
Besides the stress.
Yeah. And I guess, like, I'm reading that you feel, it sounds like you feel pretty confident that you're able to deal with those things, or is there anything underneath that? I guess I just want to make sure.
I feel like I can handle those things, and, like, if I'm not able to handle the day-to-day housework and stuff, that's not the biggest deal to me, or my husband.
Okay.
But, yeah, and I'm not nervous about being able to take care of my child or anything. Mm-hmm. Most of my anxiety is focused on, like, school, specifically.
Okay. So, sounds like you, like, some perspective is there, like, you're not, you know, overly concerned about the things that will get done eventually, and you feel that you and your husband have a handle on taking care of this human.
Yeah, it's strange. Like, I didn't think I would be so confident as a parent, but I feel like that's the easy part of my life right now.
Yeah.
And school is hard, so it's kind of the opposite of what I thought it would be. Okay.
Well, we can talk a little bit more about the school thing, but I think I have a few more questions as far as strengths. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so you, in talking last time, we were talking about, you know, worries about school and being a competent student, and that is where you said your worry lies. What's an example of a negative self-perception that you have overcome, and how did you do that? Because, you know, you were talking like, I don't know if I'm the best student, but when was another time you've...
Well, I think I've come a little bit further on that issue just by, like, doing assignments and getting grades. Like, I know that, okay, I'm not, like, failing out of this program or anything.
Okay.
And otherwise, I don't know. I think academically it's always been an issue. I go into a semester feeling like I'm not as well suited to be in a class or whatever than my classmates, and then by the end of the semester I feel just fine. And that's not a perspective I really had at the beginning of the semester, that is a common occurrence for me, but talking to you right now, I just realized that this happens all the time. So,
and isn't that cool?
Yeah,
isn't that a cool thing to be able to discover something about yourself?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so next time I feel this way, it's like, this is just par for the course.
Yeah,
really.
And you'll be prepared and comfortable, dealing with that discomfort.
Yeah, just knowing that it's typical of me, has got to provide some comfort for me next semester or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess just to take a pause about that, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
One, you said, the last time we talked, you were like, I'm so far behind all these other people, and now you're like, that's really not true. I've gotten things done.
Yeah.
And then just to have that perspective of yourself and, your patterns. That's really cool.
Yeah, and, I know I can be fairly rational about these things, but it takes time sometimes to just, dig in and realize what's going on, what's real, what's realistic.
Yeah. And something we talked about last time is, you do have that ability to, look at your feelings and look at how you want to be feeling in the future. And it sounds like that intellectual perspective is something, at least with respect to this topic, you have been able to adopt now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, it's that, and I've thought more about how I'm kind of a black and white thinker, and so I'll come to some realization that eventually I'll be like, oh, it's really not that big of a deal because everybody goes through this in some way, and I'm seeing that my classmates are struggling alongside me, and maybe they're not doing all of the readings on time, and it certainly makes me feel better in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not behind the pack.
No, now I feel like I'm right in the middle.
In the middle of the pack. Okay, well, given that you're in, social work grad school, you're here for a reason, you're a little more comfortable in your position. Why is this important to you? How do you see yourself promoting well-being in the future for other folks?
For other people?
Yeah. Why are you going to be a social worker? What do you have to offer?
Well, I think I have pretty open perspective. I think I can see pretty far. And I might struggle with my own anxieties about myself, but I can step out of that and understand bigger picture problems, and I think that's an important method of thinking in social work, seeing a bigger picture. And I do want to get into macro practice, and I'm adaptable, and I feel like that's, depending on the job I get, pretty important. So
yeah, definitely. So you just named two strengths right there. One, you can see the big picture. You can zoom out and look at, okay, what's really important, and how do we get there? No, even if you personally are having things, you can do that in your work.
Yeah, and I can even do that about myself. But
yeah,
even in a work scenario, I think it's pretty helpful.
You're right. You can do it because you said that sometimes the readings really aren't that important as long as I'm learning what I need to do. And then two, you're flexible, which is definitely going to be necessary in this environment, I think.
Yeah, especially in a position that is as changing and I don't know, it fits into a lot of different places.
Yeah,
and I'm interested in that. That's part of the reason I signed up, was because I knew I could potentially do a lot of different things.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that is needed in this environment, that you recognize is needed, and that you can really contribute to. So it sounds like we talked about a lot. Coming from last time, those concerns you had, you were able to think about them and feel how they really weren't as determining of your life and situations as it was. You've got your husband. You both are really rock solid in that. You, even though organization isn't one of your natural strengths, you have taken time to make it something that serves you. Putting things in perspective in your personal life, what really needs to get done, what doesn't, how can I make, my environment, your environment, the best place to do all those things. And then sounds like you've got, a handle on a lot of stuff so that you are able to really be a service to our community and our world with your open-mindedness, your ability to understand the moving pieces and what's vital and what needs to happen, and just to adapt with the times and roll with what's going.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel, for many different reasons, a lot better this week than I did the last. So.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's a great foundation for moving forward. Great. Thank you so much for being with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.